This level up is so extreme that I feel like I need to give you a warning. Use this at your own risk, buyer beware. This is something that I would do if I was looking for immediate results. If I needed to achieve things that normal people achieve in 3 years, 5 years, a year, these are the kind of things that I would do to achieve the success in months. That's just the kind of person that I am. I'm kind of an extreme person, and when I want results in something, I can be quite impatient. So sometimes I just like to take shortcuts and collapse time. The number one thing I would do, whether it was looking to get multiple proposals by Valentine's Day, lose massive amounts of weight, or 10x my business, I would say the steps are pretty similar. However, because I am kind of channeling this through the dating world just for YouTube SEO, I'm going to give you guys a lot of dating and relationship tips as well. Feel free to join in the conversation and ask me questions by joining my Level Up Queens YouTube membership. The number one first thing I would do, okay, with everything that I know now, with all the inner work that I've done, with all the client results, this is literally where I have my clients start. This is where I would start. Number one thing is I would focus on having emotional control. Now, here's the thing with emotional control. You can tell people to have emotional control until the cows come home. They're not going to be able to do it. Why can't they do it? Unless they actually learn to regulate their nervous system, when they have a perceived or real threat in front of them, their instincts, their animalistic side will keep taking over. And some people go into fight mode when they are triggered. Some people go into flight mode. Some people fawn. Some people freeze. And it's not that they mean to. When they're not in that state, they're going to say, yes, emotional control. Yes, let's do it. But they're not going to be able to. So as I teach you guys in my 3-week nervous system reboot, there is this capacity that your nervous system has. There's a range. And there's a certain point in a range where you know you're triggered, but you still have some level of self-control. So if I happen to see your body lift energy and your like body language, your energy shifting, and I can see that you have some level of control, and I tell you, hey, emotional control, you may be able to, at that mode, like pause. But if you're already beyond a certain threshold, there's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can say. That's why even in mentorship and coaching, we really attune to the person's energy and their body language and subtle things that we're trained to notice in people that can tell us if they're triggered or not and which response they're having. This is key because you keep telling people, have emotional control, and they're like, yes, that's the missing key. And yet they're triggered, and yet they can't control it. So unless you actually start learning how to regulate your nervous system, which are these minute, like super potent exercises that you learn to do that have a whole library in the nervous system reboot course, pick your favorites. You're not going to love all of them. Depending on your system, you're going to hate some of them. There's some that I'm like, I can't do that. No way in hell. It just feels really uncomfortable for my nervous system. And then there's others that like will regulate me in 30 seconds flat. And the more you do this, now you're going to be able to have emotional control. This is not a mental process. You can't tell someone. It's like a toddler throwing themselves on the floor, having a fit in the middle of the grocery store, and you're like, have emotional control. They don't have the capacity in that moment to be able to do that. They're going to beat themselves up. I'm talking about adults now. Later on, when they realize that, oh, they lost it, right? If just telling people emotional control works, we could go to the prisons and just tell people, hey, if you just had emotional control, we'd have no problem because you wouldn't get yourself in this position. But we actually have to teach them how to be able to regulate their nervous system so that they don't lose control when they have emotions come up. Okay, so I would like start here. You're going to have to do this to manifest more money. because a lot of people go into fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses with money. They do this in relationships. Anytime your container is being expanded beyond what you're currently used to, you're gonna experience you might experience dysregulation because this is uncomfortable for you. So this I would say is the missing key to actually being to have emotional control. Was literally just watching another one of your videos. Hey, Miss Kiara, and here you are live. So excited. Yay! Yes, number one, emotional control through actual practices that you can do in any situation that really actually regulates your nervous system. Otherwise, what we're telling people is that freeze is the right response in any situation, or numbing yourself is the right response. That does not help you. It's gonna blow up at some time. I like to go at the core problem, like the core roots of issues, because I want whatever change I'm doing to stick and be permanent. That's why I can keep compounding my results, right? Like I can keep building on it. So that's number one. Number two is decide what you are going to, like, what is the goal that you're going to do, and really decide. This isn't you randomly just like declaring things and then going back to your old habits and the way you think and all the old stuff. When I say decide, I mean all four of your bodies come online at the same time. Your spiritual body, your physical body, your emotional body, like your physical, like all of it comes online, and there's like a dropping in. I'm sure this is something you can relate to. I'm sure this has happened to you where you kept saying something, reverting back to the old identity. And then one day you just got sick and tired of your BS. And then you said, this is it. Like, I'm never eating this, or I'm never gaining this weight, or I'm losing this, whatever the thing was, whether it was to leave someone, or when it drops in, you know that now nothing will get, like, there's nothing that can change your mind. I know what that literally feels like in my soma, in my nervous system, when I'm like, I've decided. I know when I'm saying that I've decided, but I really haven't, because you can feel the dropping in. It's like a point of no return. People that know you will know that now you are not, like, this is what you're doing. What I like to do in my life, and I gave you the warning in the beginning, I am an extreme person and I have extreme results. I like to give myself a way shorter time frame than most people like to give themselves, because it's like that what is that law called? There's like a law, right? That I'm trying to think of it, but I'm blanking out. I have like shopping brain. I've been shopping all day with my family, so I'm like kind of getting into my my brain now. It's where whatever time you give yourself, you expand to meet that time. So if you give yourself a year to do something, you'll wait until the last 2 months to actually put in the effort. If you give yourself, 6 years to do something, you'll wait until like the last 6 months are left. I don't know why we do this, but this is just how we are. I'm also a very impatient person. I don't like to give myself really long, drawn out like time frames. So I will choose often the most extreme time frames for doing stuff. Things that normal people would take like decades to do. I'm like, we're gonna do this in 2 months. We're doing this one in 2 weeks. Like, that's just how I am. So you know if you tend to put things off until the last minute, or what works for you. But for me, I will give myself like the shortest amount of time, and then that will force me to put everything into that decision and make extreme adjustments in my life. I don't have time to play around, because if instead of something taking me a year, I'm saying I'm going to do this in 2 months, obviously I'm not going to fool around. When I decide, I don't think about it and don't talk about it. I just do it like Nike. Khabibi, yes, that's it, right? You're not like calling your friend and asking for permission and checking in with everyone and making sure no one's going to be upset. Like it's done. I did it already, right? It's people in my life know when I decide something, get out of her way. So that's number two. Number three, this goes especially for dating, but even if you're married already, I would do this. I think that most of us are eating foods and have a lifestyle that are aging us super quickly. And it's not just about aging, but it's messing with our gut microbiome and really, really like just altering our thought patterns and the way that we feel. Like it's really manipulating us. And every single person that I has asked me what diet, what you eat, what you don't eat, and when I tell them, and if they actually followed, I actually just met a good friend of mine at the mall at Neiman Marcus, and haven't seen her maybe in a month, and all of a sudden it was like she was just glowing. She lost all this weight, like just radiant. And I said, "Oh my God, you look amazing." She's like, "Well, I started the carnivore diet." I'm like, "Wait, what?" You could just see like her, everything was different. And so eating a primal diet, when you're trying to have like an anti-inflammation diet, when you're resetting your gut microbiome, when you really want to feel good in your body, you want to lose weight, you want to radiate, you want your skin to be glowing. And by the way, your skin reflects the inside of your gut microbiome. They say that if you want to see the inside of your stomach, look at your face. Like you look at the skin. That's what it represents that. And so when you want to have all these changes, the carnivore diet, because of all the nutrients in meat, and there's so much science, go and follow some of the doctors I've been recommending to you guys, Dr. Ken Berry, so many amazing doctors, so much research coming out of this. It's primal diet. Immediately what I notice is the whites of people's eyes get whiter. Their eyes get bigger because the inflammation is gone around their eyes. They will have more of a chiseled face. The other thing I'll start noticing is their skin and their hair will be looking healthier. There's more fat in their hair. And all of these things, notice if you have my courses, you know that the subconscious, like the male brain, registers these things immediately. So what you want to start doing is eating in a way that will make you a decade younger and making you look absolutely stunning and gorgeous. Especially if you're older. There's this wonderful doctor by the name of Dr. Gabrielle Leons, I believe her name is. She is an amazing researcher, and her godmother is an amazing researcher. Like she's just surrounded by doctors that have been like doing research for decades on this anti-aging and muscle and carnivore and all of these things. And she talks about how after a certain, like after a certain age, that normal like hormonal beauty that we're going to have, it's now going to be dependent on our diet so much more. And she talks about having more muscle is like, she's got a famous quote. She says, muscle is the anti-aging organ of the world, or something like that, of the body, or something like that. And so what happens when you're eating a carnivore diet is you're instantly getting more protein and your body starts recomping. So what I've seen in myself and a lot of other people making content on carnivore report this too, is even if the scale doesn't immediately change, which I can lose like 10 pounds in the first week and keep losing a couple pounds until I like get to a certain number, like it just works. It's so amazing. Is what happens is your body recomps. So you'll notice that your boobs are getting bigger, your stomach is getting flatter. You're just gonna have like this toning in your body, even if you don't change your workout or other things, because you're eating more protein and you're eating a diet that's like easier on your system and it's most familiar to our body. Nervous system reboot is a must. Just purchase based the money come to me play shop because my nervous system is ready. Thank you, Mina. I'm carnivore also. Beautiful. Beautiful. I know my clients and students that started because within weeks they start looking decades younger. So try it out for yourself, right? Like go and do the research and test it out, and you will start seeing results really fast. And I think that's why a lot of people start having the container issue on this too, because there's other things happening. That's why I said, number one, do the nervous system work, because you'll start seeing results so fast that you're going to need that container to be expanded. And by the way, thank you for mentioning that. The arouse is love. I had put a crazy You guys know we're celebrating this Sunday, tomorrow, our birthday, 7-year birthday of the Universe Guru brand. And so behind the scenes on my email list, we've been celebrating. So we had Arouse is Love and Money on this extreme flash offer. And actually, there should be a few more minutes left if you want to go check it out real quick. And that's about to end, but the one that's starting now is the Savage Feminine. There's a scholarship on it for over $1,400, no code needed. And then those of you guys that are on my email list, there's a surprise tomorrow. And then Monday, the big once a year sale. I only do this once a year for my birthday. I'm turning 44. My company just turned 7. Starts on Monday for email list, and then it's going to be announced the code everywhere else on next Monday, the 25th. So I'm super excited. So yeah, primal way of eating. If for some reason you can't eat meat or don't want to, at least eliminate as much junk food as you possibly can. Okay, this is your time to shine. This is your time to be radiant. Like, you know, when we keep saying everything in moderation, and do you want moderate results, or did you click on this video because it literally says extreme level up? Like, you make up your mind, and I respect your decision. However, if you clicked on this thumbnail that literally says extreme level up, I'm assuming you don't want moderate results. I don't listen to people that have moderate results, that want moderate change, right? Because that's just not the type of person that I am. I don't want moderate results. I want extreme results. Thank you very much. And so I'm going to do those things that are easy on me, that are like simple decisions that I can automate, but that put you in the elite. They put you in the top 1%. There is this doctor I follow on Instagram, and I love these little quotes he posts. He's also a big carnivore, a primal, all that stuff. And he says that if you are over 40 and if you eat a primal diet and if you work out and if you sleep right, you're like the 1% within the top 1%, because most people are not doing that stuff. And honestly, I find it easier to just do these few key things on repeat that eliminate decision fatigue. Because being overweight is exhausting. I know I was like 70, 80 pounds heavier. You guys have seen my before and after pictures. My joints hurt like hell. I felt miserable. Like, I just don't like being overweight at all. It's not fun. I feel lethargic. And so just making these key things. So when people tell me that's hard, I'm like, that everyone has their hard. To me, being overweight is hard. Being inflamed is hard. Not feeling my best and looking my best, that's really hard for me. So I rather just do those key things that are helping me look better, age better, feel better, and just be healthy overall. Because our gut microbiome is not just about looks, right? It affects our mood. It affects so many like things going on inside of us, the way we feel. It can really impact your moods, so many things. It impacts your nervous system too. Mina, so grateful God led me to your teachings. I have changed my life completely, and there's only more to come. I got my first course from you, Nervous System Reboot. Love leveling up. Awesome, Tessa. Thank you so much for sharing that. Honestly, if you're going to only buy one, start with the Nervous System Reboot. I used to say that about Basic Babe before, because that was like more of the subconscious work. But I would say now, if you're only going to get one, start with the nervous system, and then you can play around from there. But start there, because when you can regulate your nervous system, everything else is like easier to add on top of that. Okay, so primal diet. I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys have, but here's the thing. If you are not having any proposals, if you're like, Mina, I'm ready to get married, I swear I'm doing my inner work, like I know the energetic stuff that you teach, like I'm showing up, I'm following the things, but I'm just not getting any proposals, or I'm not meeting like quality men, or men are not approaching me. This is taboo to say, but like this is what I would want someone to say to me. Sometimes it is that our looks need a little upgrade. And I'm not talking about slapping on makeup. Like we all know makeup, like we know that stuff. So there's subconscious information encoded in the way that we look. Mimic makeup is trying to mimic those things. Before I got married, I had this guy friend. His sister and brother-in-law are the ones that helped me like vet Irfan and all of that stuff. So you guys know which guy I'm talking about, my friend. He used to say this thing, which would trigger people, but we were all friends, so he would just say this. He would say, makeup only looks good on the pretty girls. And I mean, that's just, when I remember he said this once in front of my husband, and my husband was like, you can't say stuff like that, right? But I know what he means, because it's like you need a good foundation to even apply that makeup on, right? Like, for example, if you're not eating right, if you're like your skin is breaking out, you apply makeup on that, how much is that going to help? Like, is it going to exaggerate the thing even more? What I like to do is look at what is makeup trying to do. Makeup tries to mimic how we would actually look if we were actually living our healthiest life, right? It mimics that and amplifies it. So when our skin is just glowing because we're eating such an amazing diet, now when I put foundation on that, yeah, it's gonna be like, whoa, right? It's like it's amplifying that even more. So I would say like go for the big things that are these key little things. So if you are at any age, but especially if you're a little bit older and you're like, Mina, I'm trying everything, I'm not getting the proposals, I would start eating meat. Like look in the carnivore diet. Here's why. We know that there are these subconscious things that our skin, our hair, our hip to waist ratio represent in the male psyche. So even if you're like, well, I'm not trying to have babies or whatever reason, like even if you don't want to be a mom, think like a mom. The reason I want you to think like a mom is because his DNA is still looking for that, because that's what's encoded. You can be in your 50s and we've already decided, like our DNA through millions of years of evolution has decided what looks good on men and what looks good on women in the sense of what represents genetic health. And so when you start eating the primal way, if you start eating, a very low carb, like primal, like carnivore diet, and then you add a little bit, you don't have to do too much, but a little bit of either walking every day or weightlifting to that, I don't care what age you are, but you are going to be standing out. You will stand out. I'm giving you all my secrets. This is what I do. I eat a super low carb diet. I eat mostly meat. And then we try to get like the fatty cuts. So like the fat's already in. I'm not high fat, I'm more high protein. Some people do well on high fat, I don't. I do better on high protein. There's like variance in the carnivore diet on this. And we walk 3 miles every evening as a family. So my kids will do about a mile and a half, and then Irfan and I will do more than that. But we do 3 miles every evening. And 3 times a week, I lift weights. That's it. People are thinking there's like some big secret to my aging, right? I must have good genes. Most of my nieces and nephews, like I'm obviously I'm like, their mom's age, but they tell me what are you doing? They ask me, what are you doing? Like, why these are the things. But here's the thing, when I tell them, they think it must be something else. I must be taking some pills. I must have had like extreme plastic surgery. I must be getting procedures. None of that stuff even looks good if you're not doing the right stuff. Like my friend used to say, makeup looks good on the pretty girls. Extreme thing to say, but if you're not getting the foundational stuff right, it's like if you haven't showered but you keep putting on deodorant and perfume, like that's not gonna work. So really, if you start eating and moving the way that our ancestor, like our body is literally designed to do, if I was like sitting Alina down and giving her like if I only had like she gave me this and she was like, here's a what is this called, an index card, mom, give me your best advice, like you only can put it on there, these are the things I would say. I would say regulate your nervous system every day. Do the exercises. They take a couple of minutes, but they like save you in millions in heartache and pain, suffering, fear, all the things. I would say eat as close to our primal diet as humanly possible, because that's what your body is designed to do. And then you'll have to just add a minimum, a little bit of sprinkle of workout to it. You don't have to work out for an hour in the gym. You don't need to, because when you're eating right, you're not having to burn off all this extreme food. Your gut microbiome will be amazing. I haven't had mine tested in a few years, but I need to retest it this year. It's on my mind. But the last time I had it tested, I had posted my results on the community tab on YouTube, and people were shocked, like the things that it was reporting. So this is what can happen. It said highly likely to live over 100. Like it said all of this elite. It called me elite athlete, like all of these things. I don't know if some of you guys remember when I had posted my results. It's just by doing, like, eating a human diet. You know, one of my clients told me years ago, we were having this conversation. She said that she was hearing me saying about the diet and the primal and the evolution and all the stuff. And then she was having all these symptoms. She hadn't like started putting the things in place. She takes her dog to the vet because he's not feeling good and he's like shedding hair. And the first thing the vet asked her was, what are you feeding him? And she said, Mina, it was like a light bulb went off. Because she's like, she was going to doctor after doctor, and they were never asking her, what are you feeding yourself? What are you eating? And like, yes, because medical schools don't teach nutrition in the United States. And the 25% that do, the classes are 4 hours. I have more than 4 hours of training on that in my YouTube channel. So we have to take control. We have to look at our history and say, what is the standard human diet? Like, what do Homo sapiens eat? When people, you know, like the zookeepers that have animals, when they bring in animals, they know that every species has a diet. They eat a very specific diet. You cannot feed them something else and expect that they're going to behave normally. They're not. You just can't mix up like a species diet and expect the same results. So if you want to be in the top 1%, right? Like people are always asking me every single time they find out my age, they're like, what? You have a 20-year-old? How old are you? Like they can't believe it, right? But they're expecting some kind of extreme, like, no, I just do what human beings have always been doing. I manage my stress through nervous system regulation. I get at least 8 hours of sleep most nights. We have nights where we stay up sometimes late watching movies. Like that's true. But most of the time, I walk at least 3 miles every evening with my husband. It's kind of a stress release, talking. It's a romantic thing. 3 times a week, I work out and I eat the standard like Homo sapien diet that we're supposed to be eating. But of course, people expect me to say extreme things. Like, oh yeah, I had a facelift, right? No, nothing wrong with those things. Maybe I'll get those at some point, but I'm going to try to work with what I got first, because even those things don't look good if you've like really messed up the foundation. All of those things enhance what you already have that's working out for you. So I would say start with this. And that glow, that radiance, the gut microbiome, we know that we transfer that, by the way. We transfer gut microbiome, transfers person to person. We know stress leaks from the body, travels person to person, right? So you want to be an energetic match for what you're really desiring, but become that first. If you are a woman that is in your 30s, 40s, 50s, beyond, you should be eating this way and moving this way. Go and research it. There's plenty of people. There's women that are in their 80s talking about this diet. There's women going through menopause talking about this diet. So you're welcome. Go and look into it. Okay, number 4. Let's move on. The Glow Up Guru said, I found you a little over a year ago, and your content has totally changed my experiences with men. Gut level emotional response was a game changer. Doing Get the Ring now and love it. Awesome, ladies. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy for you. That makes me so, so, so happy. And you bring me perfectly into the next one. Number 4 is relationship skills. People these days have forgotten the ancient art of relationship skills. So let's get into it. I had a 4.5-hour transmission in God in 99 realm called God on when did we do this? Friday. Oh my God, that feels like a year ago. But yeah, on Friday. And we were talking about relationship skills. So if my daughter had only given me an index card and we had moved over the primal stuff and we were now talking about relationship, there's a couple things that I want to say about this. And these are things I want you to contemplate. And if you need help, I can refer you to the actual courses that go with each of these. The number one thing I'm going to say is, first, know that relationship skills come from actually relating to people. And in Eastern culture, because they still live relatively similar to how we used to live, I mean, it's changing now, but relatively still similar to, meaning there's like joint families, right? Like multiple generations living under the same roof. They're born with aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents, and there's a lot of human interaction. There's a lot of attention. And so they're already learning a lot of relationship skills that they don't really need that much more, right? They might need some advice when they're getting married and stuff like that, but it's not like they're not having to start at scratch. And recently I was having the same conversation with one of my private clients, is that when your foundation is safe, meaning you've had that attention, you have other people's nervous systems to lay down as a child, there was consistent care in your household and attention. Then when you encounter one or two negative people or toxic people or whatever, you can still keep your heart open. You don't build up walls. It's not too crazy because you're like, oh, most people are loving and caring and their hearts are open. And then there's a few colorful ones, right? There's a few that have something wrong with them. You're not walking around in society feeling unworthy all the time, putting up walls, can't trust anyone. Like, I hope this is making sense, right? So we're having to start from scratch and do a lot more inner work and learn relationship skills because it was just normally built in before. And you can always, I believe in education, I believe in growth. You guys know that. I will be growing and learning until the day I die. So I do believe this is something we can learn, but we need to be aware of this. So here's what I'm going to say about relationship skills. That is like the best metaphor I can give you to show you what's actually happening. So we all have this internal movie that's playing. And according to everyone's perception, we are the main character in our own movie. So in this movie of Mina Irfan, I'm the main character. Is this making sense, right? I have a supporting role husband. This is my husband. These are my kids. This is my house. This is my YouTube. These are my people. Is that making sense? So from my perspective, I'm the main character. So I need to be able to hold that main character energy in my movie. Then I actually also have to understand that in everyone else's movie, I'm a supporting character. So if I barge into my husband's movie, acting like I'm the main character, that doesn't work because that's not his perception of his movie. From his movie, he's the hero. He's the main character. I'm his wife. Those are his kids. This is his wife's YouTube channel. These are his wife's people. Is this making sense? So I am playing several roles. I am Mina Irfan, the main character in my movie, while being the supporting role in my husband's movie. I'm the wife. In my children's life, I'm not the main character. I am the mom. Now I have a very important role in Irfan's movie and I have a very important role in my children's movie. Probably the most important role that it's like the role. However, it's not the main character. They have their own perception of what their movie is, who they are, who I am. And I think what happens is when we haven't done our inner work, this is what I've seen in my clients and in the collective. when we haven't done our inner work, or we're not one of those lucky ones that were just born in a wonderful family system where everything was the way it used to be in tribes, and we just naturally learned this, we either show up feeling unworthy and we are not the main character in our own movie, and we're just playing supporting roles and we're feeling kind of burned out because we're sending confusing messages and we're not allowing people to play the roles that they're supposed to be playing in our movie. So that's like mode number one. Hi, Mina. Just finished the replay of God transmissions. Yay, Linda. I love this so much. Catching you live now so much on Einstein time. Yes, Linda. Oh my God, that was amazing. Those like 5 hours went by so quick, and everyone at the end was like, this was definitely Einstein time. This was not Newtonian time. Like it just flew by. That was like so fun. I loved it. I loved it. It feels like it was like years ago though. That was yesterday. I'm definitely in Einstein time right now. Okay. So back to the movie example, which I did share in there in depth as well. So I shared the example of when you haven't done your inner work. What I'm seeing now in the collective, at least in the West, is we're teaching people you're the main character energy. Who's heard this? Give me a heart. Let me know in the chat if you heard the whole main character thing. Now, with the movie thing that I've shared with you, can you see that this is a step up maybe, but it's also not good relationship skills? So what we're seeing now is all these women are getting these messages of main character energy, and they're barging in people's movies saying, I'm the main character energy. And then they're like, what gives? I didn't get the ring. Or I don't have any female friends. Or I feel lonely. Or I'm not meeting high vibe people, because you're barging into people's movies saying, hey, main character, I'm the main character, I'm the main character, I'm the character. It would be like what you are watching a movie and the actor gets out of his character and starts saying, I'm the main character. It's like, yeah, we know, keep playing the part. Why are you announcing that? That's odd. You're breaking the, what do they call it? The fourth wall. And so I think this metaphor I've been using for years with clients, and every time I've had the pleasure of sharing some of this in person with people, and I love it because there's like a light bulb that just goes off. And all of a sudden they're saying, oh my God, my mom doesn't realize that she's not the main character in my movie. Or they'll start telling me all this stuff. I'm like, yes, now you'll recognize people who have really great relationship skills and people who don't. This is when we project what we want in our movie or what we would do onto other people's movies. Now, another thing we talked about in God Transmissions, which I want to add to this live stream as well, is some people's movies are romantic comedies. Some people's movies are drama. Some people's movies are action flicks. And some people's movies are Nightmare on Elm Street. And that's just their movie. That's the movie that they are living. And in some people's movie, you're the villain. You're the bad guy in some people's movies. And in other people's movies, you're the savior. You're the person that's gonna come save them. It's like, no, you are the main character in your movie. I'm just the one that's got it right in mind. So we have to start realizing that there's these intersecting, kind of almost like these intersecting highways of movies playing. If you guys have taken my timeline jumping, it's a 99 realm, you'll start seeing these patterns in what I teach and how these puzzles really intersect. And so the person that is going to be having that wifed energy, the one that's balanced and healthy and harmonious in their relationships within themselves, is you need to learn how to be the main character of your movie while also playing these various roles. And in the beginning, I have to just teach my clients that, okay, you know, when you go to this party at your uncle's house, here's some prompts. Like, What role are you playing in your uncle's life? And all of a sudden she's like, oh my God, he didn't trigger me anymore. Yeah, because you understand that he's put you in this one particular role and how to move in it while still remaining the main character in your thing. It's a projection from his movie, and you can let it derail your movie or not. Or not. Wow, this is huge. I always felt like I wasn't a priority in anyone else's life, especially since after my mom passed away. Oh, I'm so sorry, Kira. I'm just not a priority to myself. It was coming from unworthiness. I need to journal. Beautiful. I love what's coming through for you. Now, what can happen sometimes is like in Kira's case, it seems like she kind of like stopped playing the lead role in her own movie, which is we need to be able to do that while also realizing that other people have their own movies. And good relationship skills, you show up and you're able to play these various roles. I'm using this as a metaphor, obviously. We're not playing games. It's not about game planning, any of that. It's just realizing what you bring to the table in these various relationships. And I finally understand why my mom was so good at relationships. It's not that she knew this movie example, but she was raised in a household where she had these relationships and this thing from the beginning. So she just saw it. She just embodied it. And when I started putting these things in my place, like in my life, oh my God, my relationships transformed. I don't take things personally that are coming from other people's movies. I become curious of, I wonder what is happening in their movie. I wonder what role I can play to support them more. In some people's movies, I'm the best friend. In other people's movies, I'm the mentor. Do you see how this works? I'm not barging into anyone's movie, making it about myself, making it my movie, making it about I'm the prize, making it about, I'm the main character. Yes, in my movie, I am. But how can I let them be the hero or the heroine of their own movie? How can I actually be so embodied in that myself that I remind them of that? Seeing everyone in their power. Walking shoulder to shoulder. You're in your power, you're in your power, you're in your power, you're in your power, I'm in my power. And we're co-creating this beautiful experience. Okay? So that's the first thing I want to teach you about relationship skills. The second thing I want to teach you, again, this is also one of those things where it just expands your brain. And once I tell you this, you can't unsee it. So you'll start seeing where this is playing out in your life. And in God, yesterday in the 4.5 hour transmission, we talked about how this plays out, the next thing I'm about to share with you, in money as well, or in our relationship with God. Because wherever we're doing these things, we're doing it in other places as well. Yeah. So let's talk about this. So think of relationships as these three phases, or not phases, but three stages. And if you look at human history, we've collectively gone through them, but individually, people are still playing this out. Stage one relationships are it's need-based, it's dependency-based. And what this looks like is, I need you for my survival. Okay? I need you. And you need me. And so in stage one relationships, typically how it's been playing out is like woman needs man for money and financial support, protection, those things. And man needs her for, like, oh, I made it as a man, like that check, and sex and all the things, right? It's stage one relationships. There's typically a power imbalance. Someone is going to be in the one up position and someone's going to be in the one down position. Sometimes that it can also be a roller coaster in stage one because it's so need based. It's very animalistic. It can be this roller coaster. There can be chemistry, but it's not hot and cold because it's need based. And this is what sometimes, unfortunately, the work that I teach can attract that too, because women like, oh yeah, provider, I just want a provider, and then I'll never have to work, I'll never have to lift a finger. And if you need a provider, don't get one. Don't get one. Those are the women that are abused, used, put in nasty situations. Okay, my husband and I watched, oh my God, it was so disturbing to relive it. We watched the Lacey Peterson story. Have you guys seen the documentary? I remember that. I was 21 years old when that was all playing out in the news. My dad was obsessed with the news. So I knew every little bit of detail of everything that was going on. Pretty disturbing stuff, right? And so we know that historically, if a woman is hurt or abused, it's going to be the partner. This is an evolutionary truth, unfortunately. That's why they always suspect it's going to be the partner. It's going to be the husband. And so you don't want to be going on to relationships with need. If a woman comes to me, my content is not for need-based relationships. And she says, I need a man to provide for me. I can't survive. I say, do not get married. Don't get married right now. When you don't need a man to provide for you, then you're good. Because you're putting yourself in a dependency state. It's a very codependent. You can see that there's going to be problems there. So that's stage one. Stage two, which is the modern day dilemma, which a lot of people are playing out right now in the West, is 50-50. Stage two relationships are transactional relationships. And they are a step up from stage one. However, they're not ideal. And I'll tell you why. Stage two relationships are where you say things like, you get the groceries, I'll pay the electric. You get the dishwasher, I'll take out the laundry. You pick up the kids on Tuesday and Thursday, I'll get them the rest of the day. So there's this energy of transaction. There's this energy of compromise. There's this energy of partnership, which again, that's a step up from stage one. So this is good. We're headed in the right direction. What it creates in stage two is this feeling of partnership and like, you're my best friend. We work so well together, which is amazing. What it's missing is polarity. And so what starts happening is both people, the husband and wife, they'll start feeling unmet. They'll be best friends. This is when you hear things like, everything's great, but we're just not intimate a lot. Or everything's great, but like the spark is gone. That's when we start getting into best friend mode. Stage two relationships, the 50-50 model. Again, step up, not ideal. What my work does, it gets you into stage three relationships. That's the ideal. In stage three relationships, we're dealing with two whole people who don't need each other. They don't need transactions with each other. They don't need to Venmo half the rent. They don't have to play those kind of games. They are two whole people that don't need each other. They desire each other. They desire to be in partnership. They desire to be in relationship. And this is where magic happens. So in stage one, there can be chemistry, which is dangerous. You should not be picking your partner based on chemistry. Okay. In stage three, there's polarity because both of you are showing up as two whole beings who are deciding to drop one of your halves and the other one drops the other, and there's magic. So for example, I have feminine energy and I have masculine energy, and I'm a whole person that can provide for myself, protect myself. Like I can do all those things. I don't need to be in dependency with anyone. I don't need to be in transactions like that. I don't have to pay someone to love me 50-50, none of that stuff, right? I'm a whole person. My husband's a whole person. I decide that when I'm in the presence of my husband, I'm going to drop the alpha. I'm going to drop the masculine. And he decides that when he's in the presence of his wife, he's going to drop the feminine, which he has in a healthy dose as well, right? And so then there's polarity. So now we're consciously creating magnetism and attraction, not the roller coaster struggle love type that's in stage one. but the kind that's really deep, it's open-hearted. That's why I call it divine union, because it feels good. No one's playing games. There's no dependency. I don't need you, I desire you. And desire is such a different frequency than need. Need is survival. Desire is God. That's spiritual. Can you feel that the frequency is so different? It's like being able to be humble and be able to play secondary roles. Yes, because those are like, I cannot imagine barging into my kids' movies acting like I'm the main character in their movie. Like, no, what? Like, that is embarrassing. But some people act like that. Kabibi said eating this way works. It cured my RA. Oh my God, Kabibi, you had RA too? I'm so glad that you were able to heal it. Also, I'm 48 and people mistake me as a sister to my 3 adult daughters. I've seen the pictures and I thought the same thing. My receptionist thought I was her age. She's 30. Yes, I believe it. Yes, girl, high five. That makes me so happy. Oh, I didn't know that you had RA. I'm so glad that that's like over with. You had it. You don't have it anymore. It's done. That chapter is closed. Yeah. So as you're listening to this, what is coming up? Now imagine being on a date. Okay. You're dating the way primally, you're eating primally, you're understanding that you are the main character in your movie, but you're never going to be the main character in your husband's movie. That's not the point. In fact, that's not healthy. I don't want to be with a man that thinks I'm the main character in his movie. That's not a masculine energy, healthy man, right? I'm the center of my husband's universe, but I'm not the main character in his movie. Goddess said, Kavivi, I thought you were 30. Yeah, I've seen pictures of her daughter and her, and it was just like, wait, which what's happening over here? Confusing. So I love this. I love this for you. Yeah. Now, when you date with nervous system regulated, okay, primal game on, you're glowing, your gut microbiome is good, you're regulated, you've decided. Of course, you're going to have multiple proposals by spring 2025. Of course. Of course. I cannot imagine any woman that's following these steps, understands relationship skills, and she starts dating, why she shouldn't be married in a few months. Like, I cannot even wrap my head around this. How proposal, that's the easy one. That's easy. You stand out. You understand relationships. You fit into other people's movies that they are playing. You know your place in their life. You know where they belong in your movie. And there's no need, there's no dependency, there's just desire. It is such a completely different way of living. What's coming up for you guys? I'm going to do my members first, and then I'll open the chat for you guys. See what else is coming up. By the way, the Arouses Love and Money, it has expired, but I haven't changed the prices yet. So you can still grab it. And then Savage Feminine has a $1,400 scholarship, no code needed. I'm doing all these fun things, and then Monday the sale starts, the once a year. I can't wait. Tomorrow morning we're having a godly wealth free celebration for the company's birthday, and that link is also in the description box if you guys want to join me there. You have to sign up here. Let me throw it in the chat. It's called Ditch the Struggle in Love and Wealth. Here's the sign up. We had about 700 people sign up to come celebrate. It's going to be on Zoom, by the way. I know something that came up with my nervous system when I began rotational dating. My limiting belief was there were too many men pulling on my energy. Yeah. So because we have to become aware of what our nervous system is doing, how our energy is interacting, and then we can start working through it. We can start regulating through it. And the thing is, Kabibi, now you know, right? Like if I'm like emotional control, Kabibi, it's like, yeah, but my nervous system needs to be regulated, right? And so we have to be able to give people the tools to actually do this. I look way younger now than I did 5 years ago, and changing my diet is a big part of it. Absolutely. We can't just put whatever we want, like shovel random stuff in our mouth that the humans are not used to eating, and then wondering why we're not feeling our best or aging the way that we should. My standard for what people are supposed to look like at like there's people in the carnivore community in their 80s that look like they're 40. Like my complete standard is different. My paradigm has shifted and the way that I feel. Okay, I'm gonna open it up. Let's see where. If you guys have any questions. I should have brought up my things. I should have done a haul. I'll do it on my other channel maybe. Okay, I opened it up. When should we be savage versus agreeable? When whichever one is appropriate. Sometimes being agreeable is being savage. It just depends. Watch the Savage Feminine course, and you'll start seeing that this is not about me being mean. It's not about being manipulative in like it's all about the intention, right? Like how we're showing up, where we still get to be the main character in our movie while honoring other people's desires for their movie. Been watching you all 7 years and love you so much. Thank you, Jewel. Oh my goodness, 7 years. That's a long time. Thank you. Thank you, Mina, for helping us, ladies, so much. Love you. Love you too, babe. Let me add a few more things to it. So that I gave you this extreme version. Let me give you a few more things. If you're like, okay, I did the nervous system reboot. I decided I'm eating the primal diet. I love what you said about relationship. What else can I do? Get your colors done. Now we're getting into the micro tweaks. Get your colors done and go and find out your Kibbe type. Kibbe, and start dressing for your type and your colors. When you have those other things right, that micro tweak is gonna like take it up a notch. But when we're trying to do the micro tweaks, but when we don't have the big things right, we're like, I didn't get the results. Yeah, because these 1% changes aren't gonna help when like the 99% is a mess. So we really want to start with the big things that will move the needle the most. Like, for example, if I had to lose weight fast, I'd eat the carnivore diet, like fat. If I wanted to be glowing, radiant, thinking happy thoughts, looking a decade younger in a month, carnivore diet. Because anything else, it's going to give me slow results. I want to go for the big thing because I want fast results. If you're impatient like me, you're going to have to go for the big thing, the things that move the needle the most. You can't be thinking mediocre like everyone else. Eat in everything in moderation. Yeah, that'd be great if I was wanting moderate results. And how's that working out for the world anyways? Like it's not working. Yes, money is different from millionaires. Correct. When you buy money, I haven't changed the price. The ticker has ended, but I haven't had a chance to go and change it right now. So you can still get it at the insane price. And then you can add on the sales page as an order bump millionaires for an extra discount. Well, these are some really good questions. Okay. Mina, what you were saying is gold. I finally healed a massive stroke 15 years after it happened with primal eating keto. Maria, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry that happened to you, but I'm so happy that it's done. It's behind. And if anything, you've alchemized it into this huge lifestyle shift. So I'm so happy and so proud of you. That's amazing. Do you believe the body will know who the right partner is for you? How to discern overfleeing chemistry over long-term magic? So when you're healthy, yes. But this is the question is like, if you say to a drug addict, listen to your body, well, their body is saying, take more drugs. If you tell someone who has an eating disorder, listen to your body, well, their body misguides them. So yeah, for healthy people, they can listen to their body. They can listen to their intuition. Like I can do that stuff now because I've done decades of inner work. Like I know what a regulated nervous system feels like. My intuition is on point. I can listen to my body all day long. I felt this familiar ping with Irfan from just seeing his picture. I was like, there was something familiar about him. But, you know, when people have worthiness issues, they feel like all this other stuff, they think the guy that like treats them bad and abuses them is their soulmate, is their twin flame. So it depends on who you are. Can you give us an example of what you eat in a day? Okay, so I often will text. So I sometimes I forget to eat. That's the thing with carnivore too, is that you always feel satiated. So you're not hungry the way you would be on carbs. So I sometimes send my friend Shirzad pictures of my meals. So I'm gonna go find them. Doesn't it save it in the history? I just texted her. Where is it? Apparently we text each other way too much to be able to find it. Okay, let me see if I can find it in me. So this is what I typically eat. Oh, okay, it's right here. So it's steak, pan made beef steak. And then this was a little bit of lettuce, which I ended up not eating. And then when I plate, I'll just put the meat. For some reason, when he plates it, he wants it to look pretty. And he'll add like cucumbers, or I can eat cucumbers. Cucumbers I'm not a problem with. But he has to add some vegetables to it. So typically when he brought he's plated, I ended up just eating the meat. So I can have a little bit of vegetables, but I don't have the RA anymore. I don't have a ton of weight to lose. Like I'm good, right? So I can eat vegetables. In the beginning, depending on where you're at, I would do the strict carnivore, like the strict one. My cheat meals are more paleo, but still, like I'm still eating the primal way. Paleo means primal, like the human diet. We're not adding stuff to it that is not going to give us the results that we want. Honestly, if I was dating, and I mean I eat this way anyways, but if I was dating and I wanted fast results, and with what everything I know, the way the male gaze can just see your health. Remember, we're all trying to marry the best DNA we can. It's just how we're wired. And your looks give certain things away. So we want to make sure if we're eating this way, we feel good, we're healthy, we have like good thoughts, and we've got that fat in our hair. Like the things that need to be on point are now actually on point. We're not having to fake it. You're going to feel like a completely different person. Let's see. Okay, I'm trying to follow along. I always upload my pictures to YouTube Shorts to remember what I've eaten. Oh, that's so funny. I love that. Beef has more nutrients than chicken does, especially in the United States. So when I am in the United States, then yes, I eat more beef than chicken. If I'm outside of the United States, in Europe or Asia, then I will enjoy more chicken. Just because I like chicken. It's just that the American chicken is not that healthy. It's not that great. I'll eat chicken sometimes, but mostly beef. Yeah. I also love fish a lot. Love the God class. Hey, Manisha. Happy to see you here. This is gold. Thank you, Pamela. You had some work done. Who was your surgeon? I had my loose skin from my C-sections removed. I don't know. I think there's an official word for it. I don't like that word. It starts with a F. I don't like it. If you want to put it down there, put it. I hate that word. So I used, this is not an endorsement. I'm not sponsored by them. I paid $20,000 for the procedure. I could have gotten it for free. There's people with a lot less followers that did it. I would have had to wait a couple extra months. I'm very impatient. It was cheaper for me to just pay the $20,000 than wait a few extra months and get it for free. So I went to Houston. Air Sculpt is who I use, and they call it a tiny tuck. It wasn't a full tummy tuck. I didn't need it. I just needed that lower loose skin. Now, there are a lot of female carnivores with babies where their body ate that up. I thought that's what was going to happen for me. And I've lost 80 pounds. I have 3 children. You guys know that. I waited 19 years. I did intermittent fasting. I ate properly. And you guys know I'm very fit. When I post, I don't know how I show up on YouTube, but when I post Instagram stories and stuff, you guys message me saying, oh my God, you're so fit. I work out, like all the things. But for some reason, that loose skin, my body wouldn't eat it. It wouldn't, there's a term for it. Dr. Fung uses it a lot, autophagy. It just wouldn't. So after 19 years, in January of this year, I woke up one day and I was like, F it. I'm just gonna go and do it. And I told Irfan he was freaking the F out. And he was very much against it. But I had already decided. And so I told him, this is really important to me. I've tried everything, 19 years. I really want to do this. And so he spent like 3 nights watching videos with me, every video on air sculpt. And we went to other places too to get like a consult. And I ended up going with AirSculpt because a lot of my celebrity clients, that's the company they chose. And a lot of these people are reality TV stars, like, pageant queens, things like that. They live in California or Miami. They chose that company. So I'm like, hey, I'm just going to go with what my clients have done. So I ended up going with them. So that's what I've done in Houston. There was a rapper with his girlfriend there the day that I ended up going for my consult. So this is like, it's what a lot of celebrities end up using them. Let's see what you guys are saying. I think I use savageness to justify closing my heart sometimes. Yes, I can see that. And you're playing with it, you're learning. To me, like when someone's savage, when their heart is closed, that doesn't resonate with me. No judgment on anyone else, but like I don't want to withhold love from people that I love in my life. I don't want to withhold love from people. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean-spirited. I just want to give people an open door of what's acceptable, what keeps my door open. So this is another way of saying it. Boundaries are not a wall, they're a door. I think I love this saying because basically what you're saying with your savageness is that this is what is appropriate in my movie so that I can keep my heart open, is really what we're saying. And I think that's why adding the word feminine to savage has been like the best. That's why you guys resonate with it, because people who watch my work, we're not here to hurt people. We're not here to manipulate people. We're not trying to get anything from people. We want to love people and we want to be loved. So people in my world, people that are watching my content, they're taking my courses, they're my clients, their problem is they're people pleasers or they're over givers. And so they need a little bit of that savage activation, but it's always with good intentions. It's always with an open heart. And again, I'm not judging anyone else, but I know that my clients don't want to be mean. They're not autophagy. Yes. For me, it didn't work. I tried it for 19 years. How do you move with confidence when you have a desire and make a decision? How to be anchored in faith and not be fazed by reactions of other people's perceptions of realistic and hows and whens. So Lucky, I would love to have you in 99 Realm membership. This is what we discussed in God the other day, Friday, yesterday. That was yesterday. We talked about this exactly this. So what you're asking me is that there is your movie playing on this screen and that movie, but you're being influenced by that movie. That doesn't even make any sense. So other people's perceptions are allowed. So in my world, everyone is allowed to have an opinion. Everyone is allowed to have preferences. Everyone is allowed to have their own desires, their own opinions, their own viewpoints. And I'm allowed to have those same things. So what do I get to do? What do I believe I get to have? What do I believe I get to do? Hi, AK. Oh my gosh, catching you live. I'm in Australia, so our time differences mean I never really catch you live. Manifesting you coming here, by the way, your work has changed my life. Thank you, Mary. Oh my goodness, yes, I never go live at this time. I was out shopping all day, and typically when I'm a projector, so when we come home from shopping and stuff, I need to rest. I'm just like super energetic today and hyped up. So I'm like, okay, let's just go live. Um, Australia is on our list, and we will be there soon. For sure. I've never been. We really want to go. So yes, that is happening. I'm having a problem with carnivore because I'm vegetarian. Do you have any suggestions for someone who barely eats eggs, fish, or chicken? I don't. I'm sure there's other amazing. The carnivore community is rock solid. Oh my God, it's freaking amazing. So if you search for that on YouTube, I'm sure you'll find people. I would recommend Bella from Steak and Eggs Girl, Steak and Eggs Lady. She used to be vegetarian and she's healed a whole bunch of stuff. Steak and Butter Gal, is it? Steak and Butter Gal. I would recommend her channel. Maybe start there and then you'll start finding other people. A lot of these carnivore people have communities too that you can join. There's also a carnivore app now. It was invitation only at the time, so I'm assuming that they've opened it now, but they invited me and I joined, and they give so much free content, and you can also pay for stuff. Thoughts on caffeine? I don't drink caffeine anymore. You guys know this. I read the book Caffeine Blues, and it blew my mind. And as I was reading the book, I quit caffeine. So immediately I think I lost 7 or 8 pounds just from that, the caffeine, because it, especially in the belly area, because of course, like it interacts with, you read the book, it talks about how it was invented, how it interacts with the female body versus the male body. Like, I really recommend Caffeine Blues. It's a mind-blowing book. Is primal equals paleo or not the same? So the reason I stopped using the word paleo, even though I was big on that word back in the day when I was doing nutrition content, is because people, as something becomes mainstream, it twists and turns. So back in the day when I was studying nutrition because of my own RA journey, it was very clear what's paleo, what's vegan, what's vegetarian, like what's keto. And then it just got crazy. You know, everything takes over social media, it gets distorted, it goes crazy. Now, a lot of things that people are claiming to be paleo are just manufactured products. And because they don't have a background in evolutionary science, and like this is not paleo, like this is not, they didn't have access to this. So honestly, the reason I love carnivore is that it takes away the guesswork. Like if it had a mother, if it had like legs, you know, like you know what carnivore is. You're not buying like factory made products and calling it paleo. And so it makes it, it keeps it clean. If you're as crazy as I am, meaning you love extreme result in the shortest amount of time, that would be great. Like go for the things that it's not going to make sense for the rest of the world. The science is there now, like they're doing all these studies and stuff. They don't need to tell me that though, because I already have the results from it. But for people who need to see the scientific studies, they have them now. Yeah. Hi, Elle. I love you too. Thank you. Mina, your energy and joy is legit, so contagious and the highest vibe. Thank you. That means so much to me. I appreciate that. This is my first time catching you live. I'm so excited. I hope you're doing great, Mina. Thank you, Sydney. I appreciate you. Thank you, Lucky. Anything else coming up for you guys? Let's see, did I miss any? Big flowers. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. One of your coaching packages. Oh, awesome. How do you feel about getting help where you can? I take meds for my hair loss and weight loss meds. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. I'm big on vitamins. You guys know that I love vitamins. Like I'm gonna do the 1% things, but I'm also gonna bank on the big things, the ones that move the needle so much that people are just shocked at your results. Like I'm gonna put more effort there. And then the little bit, the 1% things, like, yeah, I take vitamins. I do the things that I need to do that feel good to me, that work for me. Nervous system reboot plus carnivore plus money, money come to me, play shop equals a more powerful me in 2025. Girl, yes, you got it. 2025 is done. And in fact, people who are doing their inner work, people who are watching this content, investing time in themselves, your 2025 is actually going to be like 3 or 4 years. Like, let's be honest, you're going to do what most people can't even do in a decade in 2025. When you're buzzing with overabundance, how do you harness this rather than self-sabotaging? So I normalize it by expanding my container. The best course for that is my container course. It's called Femme Fortune. Highly recommend. The container work there is going to help you ground it in. Oops, what happened to my screen? Am I still live? My screen just went blank. Okay, I have no idea if I'm still live. Hopefully I am. Okay, I think I am. Hi, Mina, you really inspire me to help keep executing different things in my life. Thank you so much for saying this. Let me say something else to that. You just kind of like reminded me of something. When we're under 30, one of the reasons that we're young and vibrant is there's a lot of firsts. There's your first job. There's your first time traveling, your first home, your first car. There's a lot of firsts. There's a lot of like newness. A lot of times people that are over 30, they stop growing. They stop doing first. They just get into a routine. They go into this like very automated life. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but what I've seen is that they stop growing. Now, if that's what you want, that's great. However, when you're not growing, you're not expanding, you're not learning, it can age you in your energy. Like I've met people in their 70s and 80s that are just so alive. They're so vibrant. They don't look their age at all. I have people like that in my real life where I'm just like, wow. And they have something in common. I still hear them a lot saying, oh, that's my first time eating that. That's my first time doing that. That's my first time going there. They still are creating these growth like calibration portals. They're still doing things for the first time. They're still putting themselves in new situations, in new rooms, in new spaces. And I think that's really like key to keeping that aliveness for life. What we call high vibration, we call like people that are awake in their human experience. They're not falling asleep in their automation. Mina, could you share your skincare routine? So I do the least amount of skincare possible. I have the kind of skin that just glows when I'm like eating healthy and happy and sleeping well. And so the less I mess with it, the better it does. So I use what I love, actually, my favorite skincare product is actually a Neutrogena product that I've been using since I was 30, so a really long time. It's called, let me see if I can pull it up on my Amazon. People say not to order your skin care on Amazon, but honestly, I have it on subscribe and save. It just comes to my door. I'm lazy that way. Let me find it. Especially if you are a woman of color and you tend to have, you know how when, I know in my culture, this is very common where you can get like dark spots or like dark, you know what I'm talking about? There's a word for it, right? Um, I forget what the original term for that is. This is it. Okay. I have several different, they keep changing the packaging, but let me show you like the most like generic one, the typical one, the packaging that they've had the longest. Okay. It's this one. Oh my God, you can't see it. Let me let me pull it up and I'll just see if I can send you. It's called, let me just give you the name actually. Neutrogena Rapid Tone Repair. Neutrogena Rapid Tone Repair. That's what it's called. They keep changing the packaging. I think it's different flavors, but any of them work. Hyperpigmentation, I'm sorry, that's the word. Yes. So I know Asian, I don't know if all Asian women, Indian, Pakistani women suffer with this a lot. And so I had some after pregnancy and like, especially here, I had some, I was like, oh my God, this looks like it's not going to go away. A week of using this, that's how I discovered it actually. After I had Ayan, I was 30, is when I discovered this product and it promised to take it away in 2 weeks. It did. So I was like, okay, this we're just gonna keep using that. For me, Dania said the newness comes from new mindsets and exposure to new different people, creating my own mastermind bubble with those committed to growth and expansion. That's beautiful, Dania. That's it. Like your mind is open, your heart is open, you're learning new things, you're hearing new ideas, right? That's what I mean, like this aliveness for life versus we know the people that their heart is closed, their mind is closed, they're very fixed in their thinking, they're not open to new ideas. We know those people and they start feeling heavy. As I approach 50, oh my God, girl, I had no idea that you're 50. Oh my goodness, I thought you were my age. As I approach 50, creating more newness is key to keeping my energy young and exciting. Girl, yes, you got that. You've nailed it. Do you eat rice? No, I don't. To me, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. I think of all the carbs, after gluten, like that's the one that just like brings down my energy the most. Rice. Hello from Paris. Second time this week I catch a live without planning. Feel blessed. Thank you so much for being the rule breaker. You are so inspiring. Thank you. I like being the rule breaker. Yes. Thank you. Do you drink bone broth? Okay, so I love bone broth. I have these weird phases of it. So my whole family does. We will go on this thing where we're like drinking bone broth every day, and then we won't look at it for like 2 months. And then we'll go through another phase where we're drinking bone broth every day, and then we'll just get sick of it. So I don't know why we keep doing it that way, but yes, bone broth is really good for your gut microbiome. Yeah, so I have we kind of do a roller coaster with it, but it seems to be working. Question about dating. How can I manage to not feel a drop in my self-esteem when all the men who don't want to marry quick will ghost me when I say that I date for the ring? So that's what we're aiming for. What we're aiming for is people that are not the one, right? And most of them will not be the one because there's only the one, right? And we want them to escort themselves out. We want them to be like, okay, I can't be a predator over here. I'm just gonna walk myself out. Like she's not gonna budge. So now if this is triggering your abandonment wound or your rejection wound or anything like that, now we're going back to doing our own inner work, right? So the Dream Girl course or even basic babe bundle, I would go to your core beliefs, like one man or 10 men or a million men walking away because I refuse to offer myself up on a golden platter to them. That has nothing to do with me. Okay, it has nothing to do with me. Now, all I know is that I protected myself from people that did not have good intentions for me or my life. That has nothing to do with you. Your worthiness is not in question when you raise your standards and the predators walk themselves out. That's the point. So, no, we're not questioning our worthiness because some men were just there to play. And you said, nope, not here. Trust your intuition with bone broth and diet. Maybe the on and off of it has a purpose and you just don't know what it is. True, I do believe that because one of the things that they teach in like primal, like evolutionary nutrition is that we used to eat in seasons. And so a lot of time, even with vitamins, I will get myself off of vitamins and then put myself on because typically we wouldn't have access to like nutrition in that way consistently. And so when we travel, for example, I'll take some things, like some essential things, but I'm like, okay, let me just take a break from everything else. Let me like just clean out my system. And so that way it's like we're mimicking this season that was just naturally built in. I do the same with bone broth. Interesting, AK. I think that that makes sense now. Yeah. What is your routine and processes for maintaining high vibe and positivity? I don't really have a routine for it other than I just really enjoy life. I want to live a good life. I keep my heart open. I treat people well. I treat myself well. I do the nervous system regulation and things like that. If something's bothering me, I will find friends to talk to. I have mentors. I have my husband, my children. I have intentionally curated a life where it's easy to be happy. Yeah. That's what I would say. But I wouldn't say that I have like do X, Y, Z. I take good care of myself. I take really good care of my family. I do inner work. Obviously, you guys know I'm obsessed with inner work. That just brings me so much life. And I have something that I do every day that's worth celebrating, enjoying. I just always wanted to have a really good life, a good experience, and that's what I focus on. What vitamins do you take? So I take vitamin D3 plus K2 like it should be in the same thing. Anytime you take D3, which a lot of the doctors say most people in the world should be taking D3, it should be combined with K4. Those two things cannot be separated. And I also take magnesium. I take a B vitamin complex. By the way, that's really good for anti-aging as well. There's certain B vitamins that are really good for like cell healthy aging. So I take like a B complex. It's a liquid that you put in your fridge and just drink out like a little bit every day. I take probiotics. I don't take these all the time. I don't mess with the D3, K2, and the magnesium. That should be every day. A lot of these other ones, I rotate them. So I won't take them every day just because you don't want to. My husband is big on like not overwhelming your kidneys. He's like, does he say kidneys or liver? I think kidneys. Yeah, he says you don't want to like take too much. So I take doses that are a lot smaller than what most people would recommend, but I try to get I get most of it from the nutrition that I eat. And so I'll rotate them. I also a couple times a week will take hair vitamins, like it's hair and like nails. I didn't get good genes in certain departments, so like that, those are good ones for me to take. Um, when what you said in the God transmission about some men being like people who go into a store knowing they don't want anything in that store was a helpful mindset shift for me. I'm so glad to hear that, babe. Yes, it's like that doesn't even make sense to me, right? It's like respect yourself. Why are you coming into my store? It's not the store's fault if someone walks in even if they never plan to buy. Yes. Yes. That sounds like a them problem to me. Was assuming as we talk about law of attraction, does reading romantic books help attract the partner? Does it help you, babe? So the point of doing something is what effect it has on us. So I can never even imagine reading any romantic books or anything like that. That's just not me. I don't read fiction. So that would not help me. Does it help you? So the point of doing manifestation rituals or law of attraction techniques or anything like that is how it makes us feel, how it changes our energy. Mina, do you still do Pilates? So I had hired a instructor near my home, and she ended up being like the country's foremost like fascia expert. Like it was a whole thing. It was so interesting. But anyways, I did learn some techniques, and then I just incorporated it into my workout routine. But I'm not doing like what normally people will say, okay, today I'm doing Pilates, and it's just like one big routine for me, which mostly involves lifting weights. And then I have like a stretching yoga slash like Pilates moment at the end to stretch. Do you balance spirituality, not being arrogant with being a millionaire? I feel guilty. So it depends on your beliefs. In my beliefs, God wants me to be rich. So I don't have that association. If you have the Basic Babe bundle, I talk about core beliefs a lot in there, right? Our core beliefs are based on what we believe. So in my world, it is unspiritual to keep myself poor. Like I cannot live out what God desires of me to keep myself poor. So I set out to become rich so that I can do everything that God wants me to do. So I would shift your core beliefs. A lot of this is like really weird religious programming, right? And I love religion. I just don't like some of the distortions that people have added to it. And I know a lot of people can have religious distortions. I've never believed that I should not have money. My mom said when I was two, I used to argue with people that I'm rich, like that I'm supposed to be rich. And so I think it's very unspiritual to try to keep myself poor. You have helped me for my RA and so many other things in life. It's been 8 years I have been following you. Oh my goodness, 8 years is a really long time. I'm so glad to hear that. And I think sometimes asking about other people's beliefs can help too, because we all have different beliefs, and I have limiting beliefs in other areas, right, that I've had to work through, but that's not one I ever had. And so I never had that issue of feeling guilty over wealth. Mina, do you think there can be ways to tweak and keep polarity in the same age marriage? Yes, I've talked about this in Intoxicate. There's a whole lesson in there on this. In the bigger course, the hypnotic sex course is definitely there. I may have also put that in Intoxicate. I'm pretty sure it is in there. Have you ever considered becoming a nutritionist on top of other certifications and degrees you have? No, because a lot of nutritionists are my clients, and what they're being taught, I would never study a curriculum that didn't have evolution in it. So no, I would not. A lot of medical schools curriculum, nutrition curriculum have been written by pharmaceutical companies. So a lot of my clients are nutritionists, and they're trying to add the evolution aspect to it. Yeah. I'm very careful what certifications and things I do take because um yeah, obviously I have my own standards, but yeah. Australia, Germany, and Paris in the chat, and that's so cool. I love this time of day on Saturdays. Yeah, I think I need to like sometimes vary my chat times. We still have to do that pajama party as well. So Ishra, there is an exercise in nervous system reboot where evil eye won't affect you anymore. People with a weak nervous system are often, we in our culture we call it they have a thin blood, but actually I was shocked to learn that it's a weak nervous system is actually what makes you more open to the evil eye. So make your nervous system stronger. Mean, I felt the same way too when I was young. I used to watch the lifestyle of the rich and famous because I knew I wanted to be wealthy even as a child. Yeah, and the conditioning, some people get conditioned out of it, but I feel like that's like our natural state is to want to be abundant, of course. Of course. My husband is a physician, and he said he received only 2 hours on nutrition. He's actually one of the lucky ones. So he must be in the 25% of medical schools that actually offer it because the other schools just don't offer it at all. Most of my family and Irfan's family are doctors, and they call me for nutrition advice. I have a breakout. What should I eat or eliminate? I'm trying to lose weight. I have this. And they're honest. They're like, this is not what we were taught. It's not part of their curriculum. I want to date, but I worry I will scare a good man away because my 37 and I will become across as eager to marry. Um, so change your beliefs, babe. Remember we talked about the decide part? Change your beliefs. Change your beliefs. Who are you showing up as? What are your beliefs? Like basic babe bundle, the 6-step process. It's also in here. Rewire your beliefs. Because if that's what you're showing up in your movie, that's what you're projecting. So remember we have the main character, we're the main character in our movie. What are we projecting out? I mean, I could have said that. I was a single mom. People are gonna think I'm desperate. So what? Do I want the results that I want in my life, or do I care about what other people think in their movies? What if there were some people that thought I was desperate? Like 16 years later, who the hell cares? They don't even, I don't see those people. They don't vacation at the places I vacation. They don't eat at the places that I eat. Like, who cares? Find the one and go live your life. Like the fact that we care so much about what other people see, and then like we're not gonna see like, or they think about us, we're not gonna see them. You're leveling up. They're not gonna be able to make it to you after you've leveled up. So you're never gonna see them again. Bananas are one of the most highest carbs thing I mean, oh my goodness, like absolutely, I do not eat bananas. Uh-uh. That's a good thing to eat if you're trying to gain weight. Yeah. Just got intoxicated. Can't wait to start it. Yay, girl. Congratulations. I'm excited for you. That's got like the energetics of aging. That's the stuff. I've worked in identity shifting in the last year along with your videos and bought from you and I manifested, but I want to manifest more in my business and life. How do I get out of my head? Um, be in your body, nervous system regulation, become the observer. A great book on the topic of how to get out of your head is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Irfan and I listen to that on Audible every year. We have certain books that are like repeats in my household. That's a every year book. Okay, I will get the Lady Balls book. Awesome. Yeah. What other people are saying in their movies have nothing to do with your movie. And the thing is, like, what I realize is that the bigger your dreams, the less you're going to have to stop caring because most people are not going to be able to achieve the big dreams that you have for yourself. So, of course, they're going to talk. Of course, their movies are going to get fired up. They might even make you the villain of their movies. But so what? There's nothing in my life that I would say would be worth giving up because of other people's opinions. Like, I cannot even imagine what would be worth giving up. Mina, I love the story about how Irfan would come home from his engineering job and would cook for you to use his body getting out of his head. Yes. Oh my God. I can't believe you remember that. Yeah. So my husband says this thing. He says that if you have a very like using your head type of brain, then you when you're off of work, you should do something that gets you in your body. But if you have like if you're a construction worker where you're like using your body a lot, but it's kind of like your brain is on autopilot, then when you come home, you should do something that uses your brain. And thank you for reminding me of that. I do think that's brilliant. I think that's brilliant advice, because you're like balancing yourself out. Yeah. Irfan, he enjoys cooking. We have several cooks that cook for us, and he still cooks. Not every day, but at least once a week he'll cook for us. Oh my God, this is something else I wanted to say. Is this video too long? Maybe I'll tell you now, but make a separate video about it. I'm trying to think. Hold on. Do I want to talk about this right now, or let me mention it? There are these subtle, very subtle red flags in men. I made a post about this and sent an email earlier today because this is very important and it comes up a lot. And I'm going to make a whole separate video about this too. And the email was why a lot of ambitious men are not successful. I would say that the Lady Ball books is life-changing. Everyone should read it. It's an eye-opener. I think everyone should read it at least twice. Thank you, babe. I appreciate that. So what can happen in this is a red flag that a lot of people don't notice because it's very subtle. And the thing is that when a man shows up in dating, in your life, whatever, and he's talking about doing these very big things, like, oh, I'm gonna throw up if I hear another, like, I'm gonna open like the fanciest restaurant, like that one just gets me. Like I have like zero tolerance for that one. I know people that have been opening a fancy restaurant for like 30 years and like never got a job, like never made anything of themselves. So if a man shows up and he's doesn't know anything about the restaurant business, he's never even worked as a waiter. He like ate at a restaurant that one time. And now he's telling you that he's gonna open up this restaurant in like this fancy upscale neighborhood. Run, run. Because there is this really potent evolutionary mechanism that screws up these men. So when a man, so okay, this needs to be its own video because I could spend like a whole day explaining this, the evolution part. So when the way men evolved, they get these hits when people in the tribe give them points, and the points come as admiration and respect. So when modern men, they feel like, oh, they're not really doing anything great. They're not used to getting those points because they're actually not doing anything. They will start making up these crazy stories about how they're going to have this like amazing restaurant or this amazing business, and they're going to do all this stuff. And what starts happening in their psyche is, if they tell you and you're like, wow, that's amazing. Oh my, on that tree. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's amazing. You're starting to think that this guy is so ambitious. He's not. He's talking about things that sound like ambition. So he's going to talk about this stuff, and your reaction is going to give him the fake points. So now let's say that he has to go and like actually do things now to start this restaurant. He's going to have this fear because he has to start at the bottom. He's going to say, well, I can't do this. Why not? Because what if I fail? I told that one over there that I'm going to have this fancy restaurant. I told my dad this, and I told that one this. And so they psych themselves out. They will like tell these stories, get this fake praise. And I talked about this in the Savage Feminine course too. Like, this is such a big red flag. I can't tell you how many women's lives have been completely ruined because they will start supporting these men's dreams, supporting them financially, and like the guy never does the restaurant. In fact, he won't even become a waiter. After years, if you're like, I've been supporting you for 10 years, you didn't open the restaurant, just go get he can't, because he can't now be seen being a waiter when he's been talking about opening this restaurant for all these decades. To me, a guy that, I wrote this in the emails I sent you guys today, a guy that's driving an Uber but going to school in the evening, that's the ambitious one. Because he's actually doing something that's going to benefit his current or future family. So I'm going to make a whole video. There's these like very subtle red flags that actually mimic things that women look for, and then they get themselves in trouble. So look for the man that actually under like minds, even like the guy that's driving the Uber and like going to school, he's probably going to be like, no, like, oh man, I'm just doing this right now, right? Because in his mind, he has big dreams and the delta is so big and he feels small in them. It feels like a burden. It's like, oh my God, when am I going to do it? He's not going to be sitting there showing you this pipe dream. He's actually working hard every single day. Yeah. So what we want to do is stop putting ambitious on your love list. I think this is like the most common thing that I see on women's love list. Don't put ambition. Don't put it. Because most women are not good at spotting this, and men know this, and they are very good at faking it. In fact, the men that are actually ambitious, they never appear ambitious. Because the actual experience of the masculine of achieving their goals and desires feels very burdensome to them. Providing, even though it's their natural state, it doesn't come easy. So they're not going to be sitting around talking about this thing. That's reason number one. The other reason that ambitious men are not always successful is because the ones that have the alpha genome, it also comes with a lot of cons, and like there's pros, there's also a lot of cons. So the thing that gives them that drive and ambition to be the next Jeff Bezos or the next Einstein or the next whoever also comes with a whole host of issues that they have to work through. So even then, you want to find someone that has done inner work if he has that gene. I've been talking a lot about this in Huntress. We talked about this a couple days ago in lesson 2, that there's cons and pros to marrying a very ambitious man, and a lot of really amazing women fall into that trap. Mina, how do you get out of your jitters in your head and actually take action in business? Example, the restaurant example you gave. So first I would get some nervous system work done and make sure you don't have the freeze response. And it's actually it's an easy fix, but you need to actually have like sessions and help someone be able to do this with you. So when there's a freeze response, there's a lot of trapped energy underneath it. So whatever I tell you, you're gonna be like, great, but your freeze response won't let you go take the action. And so we have to kind of massage that out. I like my default, we all have the capacity to have all of the nervous system states, and in healthy ways, we should be able to use all of them. But most people get stuck in one. So my dominant one is flight. So I have no problem taking action. I'll take action all day long. But with nervous system work, what I've learned is I don't want to take dysregulated action. I want to take regulated action. Some people's go-to is freeze. Unless they do inner work, they're never going to do anything. They can't. Their freeze response just won't let them. They're very much attracted to my work because they see me taking a lot of action. They want to take the same actions. They have all the good intentions, but their freeze response, there's energy, the energy that mobilizes is trapped underneath the freeze response. Yes, this is why you teach us to vet them to see their well-documented achievements. Absolutely. Like men that flash and talk, big turn off. Instead of ambition, I changed it to he has his kingdom in order. Because at my big, perfect. I love that because ambitious, are we talking about potential? And a lot of men, the ones that aren't really gonna amount to anything, they have a lot of ambition. They're gonna open these amazing restaurants one day. They're gonna buy you a house one day, but right now you need to support them. And that doesn't sound like a good deal for you. That's not a good investment. So yeah, my money's tied up in other investments at the moment. Thank you very much. I was dating a guy who refused to work while I held down a job for 2 years. At the same time, I was dealing with my change of life during hormone therapy. Yeah, that's a no-go. Like teenagers are able to get jobs and pay for their basic necessities, right? That's a big red flag. I have this other subtle red flag. This is a personal one. I want to give you guys a warning that I do have childhood sexual trauma in my background. Most of you guys know this, but in case you didn't. So this is not my professional opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. I know that this is coming from my trauma. However, I still want to share it with you guys. So when you've gone through something like that, you become super hyper vigilant in life. For example, like my kids have never had a babysitter. They are like never left with strangers. I understand that that's not healthy. I understand that that's not normal. And I've done tons of inner work to feel safe in my own body. I cannot tell you if I'm ever going to be able to get over that. Maybe my children will never ever be with babysitters and all that stuff. That's just me. Okay. I own that that's part of the hypervigilant that comes with that trauma. And maybe this is my traumatic response. So I'm going to give you the disclaimer. I personally would find it a red flag if someone way older than me was interested in me. You have the freeze response? Yeah, I figured. A lot of people with freeze response are the ones that can't take action. And in just 1 or 2 sessions, you'll notice a huge release. In fact, you may be able to do it on your own. Try the 3-week nervous system reboot. And you don't want to force it. You want to go very gentle with those exercises that I give in there. But yeah, try it on your own first in the 3-week nervous system reboot. And if not, then you can do it with someone that's nervous system informed. They would have to be nervous system informed. Okay, so telling you the story, yes. So like, for example, in my culture, obviously like age gap relationships are totally okay. Like they're totally fine, right? But what attracted me to my husband was he wasn't okay with it. Like to my husband, he thought that our age gap was too much. We have 9 years, and I was totally okay with that. I feel like if there is a man that's like 20 years older than me, 25 years older than me, and he's interested in me, to me, and again, this is not my professional opinion, this is just my trauma talking, but I'm just telling you, I find that to be a red flag. That would be weird for me, because that then now it puts me in the mind where I'm like, is this person then attracted to children? Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say it, but that's too much for me. So that's just another one that I want to add. What I appreciated about my husband, he was are you sure? Like, like he had the age range that he had in his profile was way closer to his age. Like he was 36, about to turn 37 when we met. In fact, the month that we met was his birthday month, August. He turned 37, but his age range was like 32 to like, close to his age. So I think that even like our 9 years, like less is better, but I found it more attractive that he thought that it was too big of an age gap. And he was like, "Are you sure? Like, is you're okay with this?" Because I feel like there's something creepy about, I don't know, this is my personal opinion. I don't mean to offend anyone, but to me, that would be a red flag. I'm gonna make a list of these like very subtle things that show up as red flags for me. The talking about their work, that's my professional opinion. Like there's an evolution to conserve energy, all of that. Like that's like science based. This is my personal opinion. It creeps me out. I get it. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I don't know, something about it. It's like, wait, that's like your daughter's age. Why are you interested in her? Is the part. If it just happens, like it happens sometimes where you meet someone, you fall in love, and then the person's 25 years older than you, like that's the love of your life. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like people that are targeting way like decades younger. Is that making sense? Okay, Kristen said, I totally get what you mean. Yeah, I don't mean to offend anyone, right? Sometimes age is just a number. And I have friends that met someone and then they were like shocked that the age gap was there, but they fell in love and they're happily married. That's not what I'm talking about. They weren't looking for someone decades younger. It just kind of happened for them. And that's how it was for us as well. Like Irfan's age group that he had was way closer to his own age group, and he was kind of uncomfortable in the beginning. And he kept like asking me about it. He was like kind of weird about it. Like, oh my God, you're 9 years younger. Even though in my culture it's totally okay. My parents had a 13-year age gap, which by the way, Sheena thought that was not ideal. Just so you guys know, 13 was way too much. She felt like that did not help her in some ways. However, this is just my opinion. Yeah. How do you identify if a man feels safe and is a provider and protector? And how do you feel safe on your own in your own body despite childhood trauma? So that trauma is trapped in your body. It needs to be released. So I've done tons of, you guys know I've been doing like intense inner work, and I had a lot of childhood sexual abuse trauma, and so I've been to therapy. I've had somatic coaches over the years. I've done, I think it's called EMDR. I've had parts work done. It wasn't until I was like a client of that work for over a decade before I went and got certified for those things, because I first needed that for myself and I needed to heal. So then when I realized the impact of those things, I went and got trained in some of those things and started incorporating it into my work, into my courses, into my group mentorship, into my private sessions, because it was life-changing. So EMDR, yes. This is actually an evolutionary thing too that they accidentally discovered. So if you want to, I'm actually not allowed to say that. What I do, I can say it what I do. So professional EMDR, you need to go see someone. However, because I know that that comes from evolution, it's you can, what I do is I mimic it in myself. And what I do is I walk, when we walk in nature, so when you're walking, if you're scanning right to left, like you're just naturally looking at the horizon when you're walking in nature, it has a similar effect. Another thing that we do is, let's say that there's something that Irfan and I need to discuss, and it might be a triggering topic. So instead of sitting and talking about it at home, we will go for a walk and discuss it while we are looking at the horizon. So that way, as we're talking, what it does is your brain sorts itself out. When there's a shock, when there is a trauma, it gets trapped in us. And because our brain at that time wasn't fully developed and it wasn't able to sort it out. So when we're now walking, or when someone practice in EMDR, they do it with, they make you basically, they make you think of the memory. And by the way, I know that a lot of practitioners and coaches and content creators follow me. Do not start like teaching this stuff to your clients, or doing it on them without actually properly getting licensed and certified. A lot of the stuff, I like, sometimes I'll see people that follow me will start teaching what I'm teaching. Not, they don't realize that you have to go and like properly get qualified for a lot of this stuff. So just be careful. What I'm sharing is just kind of how it works. So what you want to do is, if you have like extreme trauma, obviously go find a therapist or a coach or someone that's like certified in this. But if you're like, I'm just like dealing with something, it's a pattern, my mom triggers me when she says this, it's probably from your childhood when your mom first said it, right? So if you're thinking of that thing and taking a walk, this is what I'll do. I'll like take a walk, bring it up, and you're just kind of like looking around. It starts sorting it out. But obviously, professionally, you have to like go to a person. Another thing I do, I'm not telling you should do this. What I do is, if there's something that's bothering me, I will bring it up and I'll tap. Because what's happening is you're sorting it out. Your brain has time to like sort itself out. Yeah. Okay. Okay, good. I'm so glad. 10 years age gap is max, but of course, the older everyone is, the less it matters. Yeah. And again, if it's like accidental, you just fall in love with someone, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just personally find something very creepy when men in their like 60s are like looking for a 20-year-old. Like, again, that's probably my own trauma talking, but that creeps me out. I don't like that. I'm 30 and on an exclusive dating site, Looksy, but men who are probably 50, 70 lie about age and put 40. Yeah, see, that kind of stuff just feels, that's not like, it doesn't feel healthy to me. Big red flag, they even lying about something so obvious, turn off. Yeah, that's not like a healthy husband. I think in looking for a husband, whether you're thinking about having kids or not, think like a mother, think like a mom, because you have to almost like think like a mother for yourself. And also, when you're thinking like a mother, when you're putting your mamta hat on, you're more likely to be discerning. I think sometimes like we have more care for our kids or our future kids in mind so yeah, like I, mm-mm. Why would a 70-year-old be interested in someone so young? That just doesn't feel right. Mm. I have admired you as a woman for years. I watched your video about the differences between girl. Oh yeah, that was years ago. I remember that video, the difference between being girly versus feminine. While I was transitioning from male to female, you were a beautiful role model for me. Oh, I'm so glad. That is an old video, so you have been in my world for a while, and I'm glad that that helped you. I remember that exact topic that you're talking about. Yeah, I love tapping. Have you read The Body Keeps the Score? I tried to read it. For some reason, it didn't resonate with me. Um, I just found it boring, but there's like other better ones that I enjoy. But maybe I'll give it a second try. Maybe on Audible it might be better. I try to do it on Kindle. I prefer Audible. Okay, ladies, I'm gonna a couple things. So the Savage Feminine is on a 14:45 scholarship until tomorrow. There's a timer on it. And tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Central Time, I'm having a celebration party called Godly Wealth for my 7-year anniversary for the business. Tomorrow's our 7-year anniversary. To sign up for that one, you do need to be on Zoom for that. And the Zoom link will be sent when you sign up here, when you register. That link's in the description box. There's a surprise tomorrow as well at the party. And then for the people on my email list, which you'll get on the email list through this as well, or my regular list, the sale code, I can't say it yet, but yeah, our big 24% off sale code is going to be delivered via email. The sale starts for you. If you're in 99 Realm, you have early access. So it was already given in the God code yesterday. So you can start early. You have early access. Thank you for building this community. Thank you for being a part of it. I love it. Mina, something you shared that changed my life is when you said, when you embody something, you don't need to communicate it. Like saving myself for marriage as an example. I no need to explain, oh, I love this for you. Yes, and I'm sure you know the reason. Like I thought I had to like use the perfect words and say it perfectly, and then like I would get into these conversations where I would just be further manipulated. And it was like, what? I came in here trying to set boundaries and I'm like people pleasing even more now and I agreed to even more things. So yes, that was a big life shift for me too. I'm glad that helped you. Yeah. I was dating someone who told me he was 45, turned out he was 65. Yeah, oh my God, are men like, what is wrong with people? Now we need to ask for their identification like on the first date. Oh my goodness. Yeah, yes, the Godly Wealth one is on Zoom, babe. The link will be emailed as soon as you register. So even if you currently are on my regular email list, you have to register for the Godly Wealth one separately. The time is 11 Central Time tomorrow. So like Houston time. Thank you. They lie about their height and their age. My God, that's so embarrassing. Now I feel like we need like an ID like upfront. Mina, can you talk about how you act fast in your ideas? You mentioned in one video how you take action sometimes even when it's not aligned. Can you expand more on that? Okay, so I have in the memberships only, I have a master class called Alignment. I'm sorry, it's Alignment. It's $20 to join the YouTube membership. So if you're in there, I think it's an hour long, it might be longer, but yeah, there's a whole master class on that topic. I mean, I've been stuck in freeze for a couple of years and I'm about to turn 26 and feel like I've missed out on a lot of my 20s advice and perspective. Let me what I'll do is let me make another training, especially for people in their freeze response and add it to the nervous system reboot. So typically what happens is most people think that they attract people that are similar to their system. So for years, I believed that everyone that was following me had my type of a nervous system because that's why you're attracted to me. But what I've learned is that that's actually not entirely true. Yes, I do attract a lot of people that are like, yes, Mina, it's like just like me. But I also attract people that know that they have the potential and the desire to like make decisions fast, take action fast, move fast. But for some reason, they can't do it because they're in freeze response. So they're attracted to my work because I remind them that they can do it, but they need help. And so I think it's like really become clear to me that a lot of people that have the freeze response come to me because I'm like awakening and showing them something that they can have. So I'll add an extra training just specifically for people that are having the freeze response. And the birthday party is Eastern would be 12, correct? If it's 11 Central, it would be 12 Eastern. Yeah, I believe so. Yes, 11 Central. So that way you can, I'll tell you what I would do with a client who had a freeze response to start massaging it out. And then you can practice using it's the same resourcing library that has all the various practices for the different types. But I think if I speak directly to you, it's going to make a lot more sense to you. I've been in functional freeze for years. I'm able to do things but crash at home and bed bound on days off. What to do for chronic functional freeze? I think it would be the same thing. There is something there a lot of mobilized energy underneath it that needs to be a release. Typically, it's anger, unreleased anger, unexpressed anger. And why people struggle with this is because from a society standpoint, it's not appropriate to express anger unless you're just like complete lunatic and just going crazy. And so we hold it in. I wonder if freeze can get confused with burnout. So freeze can happen from burnout as well. So what burnout is you are in flight or fight. You keep doing it. You're working. You're not doing it from a regulated state. You're completely dysregulated. And eventually your nervous system goes, oh my God, she has gone in overdrive. She is doing too much. She can't seem to stop herself. I think I need to overwrite her decision and take control of the nervous system. So you're going in like hyperactivity, and at some point the nervous system's fail-safe system clicks in and it goes, oh my God, this is too much, and it turns you off. So when it takes control of the nervous system and it turns the system off, that's what burnout is. It's like you did, and then it took control. Versus something happened in your childhood, or even like there was a shock and your go-to response was freeze. You couldn't express how you really wanted to express. You just froze. And so there's all this mobilized energy that wants to express itself trapped underneath the freeze response. Now you have dreams, now you have goals, but you can't move, you can't take action. And so we have to remove the thing, the freeze response, and mobilize that energy that's underneath that. Yeah. Burnout, you can eventually rest from it. But with freeze, the burnout is now chronic and your body keeps you there to keep you freeze. Once you start this work, this is why it's so powerful. The results are very simple and they're very fast, and they also compound. That's the thing that's most shocking. I remember just crying when I realized that in a few hours, you can heal someone's decades of trauma. Like, because People walk around with so much suffering, so much pain, and all it takes is just a little time and space from someone that cares, that can hold that space from you. And that's why I created the nervous system reboot, because I feel like if more people have access to these little things that they can do, they can start releasing some of that stuff. They can start like working at it. They can start self-regulating. Like imagine kids having access to this. Yeah. The reboot, nervous system reboot. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, give me some time. We're going into a very busy sale, birthday celebration sale season in the next 2 weeks. However, after that in December, I'll add a specific thing for freeze. Like I'll be talking directly to you of what you can do to mobilize the energy. Here's the thing I want you to know. You have that energy inside of you. In fact, there's a lot of it. It's trapped in there. You think you don't have the energy or you can't move, you do. It's just trapped underneath the freeze response. A training would be great, thanks. It has made me really sad and down realizing I've missed out. Oh, babe. But you know what? It's a quick fix. You can fix this. And once that energy is released, you're going to feel so much relief. And then you can go and make the things happen that you get to have, that you desire and want to make manifest. I can feel the energy in your life, and even that is overwhelming me. Oh, babe. Okay. Yes, I think that has been a really big eye-opener to me, that people with my opposite system would also be watching me. I assumed all these years that it was only people with my similar system. So I'm like, why would anyone else be attracted? But the reason that they're attracted is because they know that they have that energy too. And so their subconscious keeps bringing them to me to show them. Join late because I took action over freeze. Mina, I kept hearing your voice to do everything from a regulated nervous system, doing it for my future peace and kids. Beautiful, Nida. I'm so happy to hear that. Beautiful. The Money Play Shop, the code today, the sale today that is ended, but I haven't changed the price yet. I will in the next 5 minutes as soon as I get off. It's better than with the code, because it's 24% off with the code, but the discount today was bigger. That's why I said it's a crazy flash. I just purchased the nervous system reboot, but need the freeze. Will I be able to access it when you add it? Correct. So here's the thing. Right now, everything in that chorus relates to all the types. It relates to people that need to regulate out of flight, out of fight, out of freeze, and out of fawn. The resource library works for all people. What happens is the people that need the flight are just instantly drawn to certain ones. And the people that need the freeze, that's why I gave them all to you, so you can practice and see what you resonate with. For example, I don't need the freeze one, so I don't want to do those exercises. Like my body just doesn't want to do it because I don't need it. But the flight ones, like those just really work for me because that's my go-to, right? So right now, that nervous system reboot, thousands of students have taken it and it's a game changer, so it works. What I'm not going to necessarily add anything new to it, but this new training is what I'm going to do is specifically talk to you and explain to you what is happening inside of your nervous system. So even if you don't know it, if you took it right now and started following it, it would work for you. Because you don't need to mentally understand what's happening for the exercises to work. However, because I know some of you guys want to understand that you are not broken. Our nervous system is a very intelligent system. It's very intelligent. All of these 4 responses are needed. It's what got us here. What happens though is that sometimes when there's trauma, we get locked into one where we're only choosing the one. Sometimes it's useful to freeze. Sometimes it's useful to flight. Sometimes it's useful to fight. Sometimes it's useful to fawn. But if you only have one thing in your toolbox, it's not good when you needed to fight, but you were frozen, because that's all you have. It's not good when you needed to flight, but you just froze, because that's all you have. So what the nervous system reboot does, it starts getting you out of a dysregulated state, which is not, that's not the normal healthy state. The normal healthy state is either you're in fight or flight, either you're like in parasympathetic or sympathetic. Like a healthy person can easily switch between the two. I can be, in my parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system when, depending on what's needed. That's the healthy. But when there's trauma or shock, we get locked in a dysregulated state. What that means is that there's no threat, but I'm feeling unsafe. There's actually nothing happening. Everything is good. I feel there's a threat. I feel like I have to be hyper vigilant. I feel like the other shoe is going to drop. That's not healthy. We're dysregulated. So there's like normal, so when you take this course, it's not like you're never going to be in fight, flight, freeze. No, that would not be healthy, because sometimes you have to run. You have to run off the street to like miss the car that's coming towards you, right? So you're going to be able to switch in between those modes, and like healthy people can and should be able to, like all animal species, right? They switch back and forth. What we don't want is that constantly dysregulated state because of trauma. So when you see this course and you see me explaining to you how the subconscious manipulates the nervous system, what types of trauma there are, how there's things that you might not even realize that you've had trauma. There's like collective racial trauma that can put you in a dysregulated state. You might not think anything happened, but it's like a collective thing that your race deals with, right? So I explain all that, and then I give you a resource library with all the regulation systems. The only one I purposely withheld, and I will not ever put this in a group thing, is breath work. And there's a reason for this. A lot of practitioners and people, students, don't realize that there is not one size fits all breath work. Notice that with every meditation, I never ask you to manipulate your breath. Has anyone noticed that? I'm always like, don't force your breath, like just whatever it is. It's because people don't realize that different nervous system states, if there's a practitioner and they have just this one breath work technique and they're like just teaching it in a group, that could really backfire on certain people. That can actually cause harm in certain people's nervous system and work for other people's nervous system. So breath work, I have a very strong integrity around that I'm not going to ever teach that in a group environment. If I'm working with a client that I know their nervous system and I know that this particular breath will work with them, then I'll give it to them. So there's no breath work in my nervous system reboot. I gave you all the other regulation techniques. So I want you to experiment. I want you to be in control of your system. I want you to start playing with your system. This is not something I want you to be afraid of. You're going to practice the different techniques, see which ones resonate with you, start doing them regularly. They take a couple minutes a day, okay? And what's going to happen is you will start becoming really attuned to and aware. You'll start saying, that's interesting. I woke up really regulated today, and then I had lunch, and all of a sudden I'm feeling off. I wonder what's going. Okay, I'm gonna regulate myself. Okay, so that's the work in there. So right now there's things in there for freeze, fawn, fight, flight, all the people. But I'll add something that will at least help the people that have the freeze feel more seen. And I think it's really just inviting you in, saying, hey, I didn't realize there were a lot of people with the freeze response following me. I get that now. And I'm always just speaking to the people that have my kind of a nervous system. And you have this too. You have this in you. It's blocked. It's stuck underneath the freeze. I did extensive breath work and it didn't dysregulate me, but it didn't help and caused a really bad sore throat for a week. Had to call out of work, LOL. Okay, Lily, yeah, I've heard similar things. There's also this whole group of people that will teach primal screaming to groups of people, and then they come back either really dysregulated or like, okay, that didn't help. Because just going out into the nature and just screaming for long periods of time is still not going to release the trauma in your system. So, I mean, to each their own. And I think as a practitioner, just being aware, of, I think the reason is that if someone is just certified or practice in one thing, they only know that one thing. But because I have a wide range of things that I practice, teach, have learned, studied, I can understand things from different disciplines. So as soon as I started seeing breath work becoming really popular and people were just teaching it in groups to all kinds of people, I already could sense that that was going to be a big issue. I don't just start doing breath work because that's not good for, like, I need to do the things that work for my system. Yes, breath work is something that makes me feel so weird unless I'm doing mindfulness work. And there might be one particular one that works for you, but if you just randomly just, do it, that neuroscientist talks about this too. I'm so glad. Andrew Huberman, I think it has talked about this, that there are types of breath work that work amazing for one group of people and would completely dysregulate another type. Yeah. Yes, you are right. I lean towards your content often, but I have a freeze more than flight. Yeah, I think it's because our subconscious says, hey, good, look, good, follow her, see? This is what you can do. And so I realize that now. And this, I just want you to understand, this is a very easy fix. It's so easy. It's one of the easiest things. I know it can be very heavy because you've been probably carrying it with you, but it's once you realize what's happening and you release that energy, you're gonna feel so much more in control. Mina, yesterday I was in a minor car accident. Oh no, Elma. And after I was trying to figure out if I manifested it through my thoughts, but I was feeling off the whole day. So I guess I was dysregulated. Yeah, car accidents, that's definitely trauma, babe. And I'm glad that you're okay. And I think sometimes people like you and I that are into inner work and all this stuff will immediately start like going into the mental plane. But remember that this is trauma and you want to be gentle with yourself and just like being with your system and regulating yourself before kind of going into that, oh, like, did I manifest it in this? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. It doesn't even matter. The point is that you did experience this and just being kind to yourself and just being with yourself. Yeah. All right, babes. I love you guys. I'm gonna go and it's gonna be time for our family walk. I love you guys so much. This was so much fun. I will see you guys at 11 tomorrow morning and